Hey everybody, this is Raymond and Jennifer, and today we're going to share with you our Western Caribbean cruise. These first couple of pictures are us at a vegan restaurant where we stopped for cocktails, and some people had some little snacks.
We went with a group of four of the couples.
Yes. This is from the rooftop bar at our hotel in Fort Lauderdale the night before we set sail. It was a gorgeous night, and you had a great view of Fort Lauderdale. The weather, we couldn't have asked for better weather on this cruise. And on the way to the port, we had to play Taxi Tetris, and that was fun. And then we get to the port, and you can see this is off the ship, and just the port in general. Then Raymond's trying to look like a king.
This is while we're waiting for our room to get open.
I don't know what I'm doing here. I guess I'm just...
You look better than I did.
Raymond found the ice cream, of course.
That's the only thing you look for when you go on a cruise.
Again, this is just port pictures. Here we are, in Bimini. What did we do in Bimini? We walked around town.
This is where we went to the shipwreck.
Oh, the shipwreck, yes, that's right. So we had a snorkel excursion at a shipwreck. The shipwreck was actually made out of, the ship itself was out of concrete. You know more about that.
Back during the war, I guess there was short of metal, steel, so they actually had a company build 10 ships out of concrete, and they kind of figured out that wasn't a smart idea. They did have one that was still floating down around Bimini, and they was using it for prostitution and gambling and drug trades, and the government finally allowed the U.S. to sink it.
Anyway, the water out here is absolutely gorgeous. If you've ever been to the Caribbean, you know. And again, the weather was perfect. We thoroughly enjoyed the boat ride out there. It was probably 20-30 minutes out to the shipwreck, and it was very enjoyable. The crew was great. They were pretty entertaining. And of course, Raymond was talking to people, and it was just a good trip.
Yep. The ship was a good thing to do my snorkeling by. It was one of my first real snorkeling trips. But it was kind of simple. Wasn't a whole lot of fish. Wasn't a lot of sea life, I guess. But it was interesting. And we did go inside the ship. You could swim around inside of it.
Yep. And here you see the ship and where it grounded eventually.
I think it was like 20 feet deep right there.
Yeah, it's not very deep at all. It was kind of cool. Not what I expected, but it was cool nonetheless. Now I can say I've been to a shipwreck. This is back in Bimini. We saw a little seaplane.
We got to watch them take off. That was pretty interesting.
That was pretty cool. And this is just waiting for the rest of the group. And then we're going to go have lunch in town.
On the way there, you saw the little...
we're not sure if these are barracuda or needlefish or gar or what the heck they are, but they just kind of hung out in that little area. Lori and I are just kind of hanging out. There's a lobster. Somebody pointed out to us. Never seen a white lobster. There's a coconut.
There's a live coconut.
Coconut.
Maybe they live.
Probably not. And then this is a little friend Eric made. Eric was one of the guys we were on the cruise with, one of the couples. The cat really took to him, which is kind of interesting. Lori and I sitting on a chair.
We all sat on that chair and
That's
took pictures,
true.
And I don't know where the rest of those pictures got to.
I don't either. So we're walking back across this bridge back to the ship, and we see a ton of sharks.
And there's people swimming just on the other side of that bridge,
Yes.
just to the left of that picture right here.
Obviously, they're not aggressive sharks. This is us at dinner. Lori drinking wine, oddly enough. Here we are in Falmouth.
We have no idea who the lady is.
Yeah. Not part of our group.
She photobombed us.
And so we did a rafting excursion on the Martha Brae, much like the sign says. The Martha Brae is a very important river to Jamaica, and the bed of it is limestone. The water was an interesting light blue aqua in most places, and it was, I think the guide said that it was never more than 20 feet deep. Is that right?
Probably, yeah. It's pretty
that's
shallow.
right.
But it was a good, fast-flowing river.
Yep, and here you can see the rafts are made out of bamboo, and they have to change those bamboo pieces out every 7-8 months if they don't dry the rafts out. Like Raymond said, it was very relaxing. We just floated. They did
all the work.
quote unquote. They used the bamboo stick to push us along, and I guess it's rough work. I'd do it.
The numbers on the back of their shirts are in sequence of when they were hired to do the rafting trips.
Yep, or how long they've been
So
doing
the
it.
lower the number, the earlier in the years they have been doing it.
The longer they've been doing it, yep.
Yeah, the higher the number, they hadn't been doing it as long.
Right.
We don't know what the highest number is, so.
We floated along with next to Mike and Lori for quite a while.
They kind of warned us about mosquitoes, and we bought some little mosquito bands, but we didn't see any mosquitoes.
Nope, not a one. Thank goodness.
On the way down, there was many shacks that was built, and the guys were selling liquor. I'm sure that's rum, and the little coconuts they carve. And this is just some of the scenes here of floating through. There's some of the carvings. They had some beautiful carvings. Of course, every rafter guide also had his own little stash of carvings that he'd try to sell you before you got off the raft.
Yep. We are on the beach waiting for lunch, and lunch was Jamaican jerk chicken. We had Jamaican jerk chicken. There was a rice, I think. I can't remember what all.
It was a rice, you're right.
The chicken was phenomenal. It was really good. Really glad we did that. That was thanks to Lori on that one. She suggested that. And then here's our whole group after dinner one night.
So Raymond,
Kind of an impromptu
your time
picture.
begins on
Sorry about the
3,
crap
2, 1.
camera work here.
So
Again,
Raymond, were
can't
you
say
born
yes or
and
no.
raised in Tennessee?
I was not born and raised in Tennessee.
How do you end up in Tennessee?
How did I like?
How do you end up in Tennessee?
Parents moved there when I was about 3.
How long ago was this?
64 years ago,
Yeah, just around the corner.
just around the corner.
Wow. And then do you establish yourself there, or do you move out of the state at some point?
I'm still in the state, Tennessee, and now I'm in Hendersonville, Tennessee, just north of Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, really? And then what do you do there now?
I'm retired.
Oh, they're very nice. What do you do before retirement? So I just want to make sure that everybody listens to you.
I'm a corporate tooling manager.
I'm sorry?
Corporate tooling manager.
A corporate tooling manager.
Tool and die trade.
So this is the military, am I right?
No, not military.
No! Absolutely.
Got him.
All right.
Now it's Eric's
Eric?
turn.
My check, 1, 2, 3, sir.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Eric, your time begins on 3, 2, 1. Eric, how long have you been on radio for?
Oh, probably 10 years now.
Do you
Eric,
have like
never been on
like
radio.
one of those nice early shows where you put some beautiful music like ballads and stuff like that?
Actually, I'm an evening show guy.
Evening show. Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't even realize what he did.
That voice, my
I figured Eric would make it.
They had a lot of art on the ship, and this is one of the most beautiful pictures I've seen. This again is another trip we're taking. We're going out to do another snorkeling trip and get
Yep.
to play with Jen's favorite little animals.
My little stingrays. I absolutely love them. They're graceful and they're gentle, and people are scared of them, but there's really no need to be scared of them. They're very gentle. And again, the water was absolutely crystal clear. It was like glass. The seas were rough, but if you were in the water and the water came up, it was like glass. It was absolutely gorgeous. This is just on our way out to Stingray City.
There you go. There's many boats pull up out there. It's a sandbar that you can stand up in and float around, and then over to your left here is where the stingrays start coming in.
There they are. You can see the dark blobs in the water. And then, so we got to feed them. We got kisses. We got back rubs from the stingrays. When I knew we were going on this cruise, I was like, we have to go to Stingray City. It's just a thing.
And the water is rough. You could kind of see it, but the ladder getting on and off, you would be in the water all the way, and then all of a sudden you wouldn't be in the water at all trying to climb the ladder. So it was a pretty shaky day.
Yeah.
Windy, very windy. You could hear it in the screens. And then we left there and went to the coral garden.
Yep.
And that's where all the schools of fish were, and it was so exciting. I'd go back just to do that part of it. Of course,
Yeah.
Jen likes the stingray, so.
Yes. But the coral gardens were pretty cool. I've never been to a coral reef of any sort, so that was pretty cool. And
This is some pictures of our ship,
yep,
and this is kind of going back to it. We started snapping some shots, and
yep,
it was a great ship.
yes,
No motion in the ocean at all. Saw 8 to 10 foot wakes, and you couldn't even tell it in that boat. It was the latest design, newest technology. It was awesome.
yep. Here we are at dinner again, and over there to the right is Alpha, who was our sommelier, a wine expert. This is Tim celebrating his birthday, and they made him a little crown out of a napkin. The fabulous staff. I can't speak highly enough about the wait staff on this ship. This is the last night, and we're all congratulating and thanking the entire wait staff.
As they kind of parade around the room. and-
Yeah, you can kind of see him in the background. Alpha was going to grab my phone and take a video. Didn't happen.
It turned off.
Yeah.
Then we went dancing on the last night. The ladies did beat us out on the floor, and I even got the nerve up to get up and drag the rest of the gentlemen out.
Lori had to drag some of us out.
And then we had, that was the end of the cruise, so we had to pack up, get ready to go.
Yep. But it was an amazing cruise. Probably the best cruise we've been on.
This is departure day, and we're all kind of hanging out in one of the bar areas with our luggage in line. And when it comes time, we just kind of head off the ship, and then we just fly home. See you later. The easiest way to get to the next video is to select one of the tabs that appear here. We do welcome comments below. If you like what you've seen in this video and want to see more, hit the like and the subscribe buttons, and it'll let you know when we post something next.